You're pushing a shopping cart under fluorescent lights. You pass the bakery, the deli, the wall of frozen dinners, and you turn the corner into the seafood section. Rows of fish laid out on crushed ice, glistening under halogen, perfectly filleted, perfectly easy. You reach for a package of salmon. Your fingers brush the cold plastic, and the lights go out. Not flicker, not dim. Out. Every sound, the refrigerator hum, the beeping registers gone. Like someone pulled the plug on the entire world. Your eyes open to white. Brutal, blinding white. Wind hits your face like a slap. And the cold isn't air-conditioned cold, it's the kind that reaches into your chest and squeezes. You're standing on ice. Not a frozen puddle. A frozen lake that stretches to every horizon, ringed by dark conifers bent under snow. The sky is low and iron gray. Your clothes are different. You look down and find yourself wrapped in fur and hide stitched roughly, stiff with age, smelling of smoke and animal fat. Your sneakers are gone. In their place, hide wrappings bound tight around your feet. Your shopping cart, your phone, your wallet, your entire century gone. This is the Ice Age. Not a movie set. Not a simulation. Paleolithic life. Raw and real. Pressed against your skin. And you are alone. The hunger hits before you can even process where you are. It doesn't build gradually. It arrives like a fist to the stomach, a deep, angry emptiness that makes your hands shake. The cold accelerates everything. Your body is already burning calories just to stay warm, and you can feel the math working against you. You haven't eaten. You don't know when you last ate. And out here, in a landscape stripped down to ice, rock, and sky, there are no second chances. Then you notice something. Near your feet, beneath the gray surface of the ice, a shadow moves. Slow, deliberate. A fish. Maybe more than one. Life. Right beneath you, separated by a few inches of frozen water. And just like that, the decision makes itself. You're not debating. You're not weighing options. You're fishing. Right here, right now. Because that shadow under the ice is the only thing standing between you and a very cold death. But you need three things, and you have none of them. A hole in the ice, something to use as a line, and something to use as a hook. No rod, no tackle box, no bait shop on the corner. Everything you need, you'll have to pull from this landscape with your bare hands. You scan the shore, maybe 60 yards away. Dark trees. Rocks jutting from the snowpack. That's your supply store. You start walking, and you walk carefully controlled steps. No rushing, no heavy breathing. Because out here, sweat is a death sentence. The moment moisture builds against your skin, the cold will find it and turn it to ice. Ancient wisdom. You didn't know you had whispers from somewhere deep. Move with purpose, never with panic. You reach the tree line and start searching. The snow is knee-deep in places, crusted hard on top, and every step either holds your weight or doesn't. Your eyes move over everything: fallen branches, exposed roots, rocks half buried in frost. You need bone. Specifically, you need a small, hard piece of bone you can shape into a hook. Not a curved hook like you'd buy at a sporting goods store. What you need is older than that. A gorge hook, a straight sliver of bone, sharpened at both ends, tied at its center to a line. When a fish swallows it, the bone turns sideways in its throat. It's a design that prehistoric humans used for thousands of years. Elegant, brutal, effective. You find it 15 minutes in, partially buried under a shelf of ice at the base of a spruce tree, the remains of a small animal. Something got to it long before you did. Most of the skeleton is scattered, but a few long bones remain, cracked by weather but still hard. You pick up a fragment about the length of your index finger and turn it in your hands. It's dense. It'll work. You find a flat rock nearby and crouch down, scraping the bone against the rough surface, shaping it, narrowing both ends into dull points. Your fingers are already stiffening from the cold, and you blow on them between strokes, tucking them into your armpits to keep blood flowing. The work is slow, The bone resists. But after several minutes, you hold up a sliver about 2 inches long, tapered at both ends. Not pretty, not precise, but functional. 1 down, 2 to go. The line is next, and this one tests you. You look at what you're wearing. The hide clothing has seams, rawhide lashing, thin strips of dried animal skin threaded through punched holes. You find a section near the hem of your outer layer where the stitching is doubled. You work one strip free with your teeth and fingernails, pulling carefully, trying not to snap it. It comes loose in a piece about 2 feet long. Not enough. You find another section near the sleeve and extract a second strip, then a third. You lay them side by side in your lap and begin twisting them together, rolling them against your thigh with your palm the way cordage has been made since before history had a name. 2 strands twisted individually, then twisted around each other in the opposite direction. The result is a rough cord, maybe 4 feet long, thin but surprisingly strong. You tie one end around the center of your bone gorge hook using a simple knot, pulled tight with your teeth. You tug it. It holds. Now comes the hard part. You walk back out onto the ice, and the wind meets you like it was waiting. It pushes against your chest, finds the gaps in your clothing, needles into your neck. You need to choose your spot carefully. You're looking for ice that's thinner, not dangerously thin, but workable. You scan the surface. Near the center of the lake, the ice is thick and ancient, built up over months of deep cold. But closer to where a slight current feeds in from the south end, you notice a subtle change. The ice is slightly darker there, slightly depressed. A pressure crack runs through it in a jagged line, and the snow cover is thinner. That's where the water moves underneath. That's where the ice is weakest, and that's where fish are most likely to be. You need a tool, something to break through. You backtrack to the shore and find a rock dense, heavy, about the size of a grapefruit, with a natural edge on one side where it fractured sometime in the last 10,000 years. You test its weight in your hand. Then you find a second stone, flatter, harder, and you strike the edge of the first rock with it, knocking off a flake, sharpening the edge into something resembling a crude chisel. It takes 6 or 7 strikes to get it right. One attempt shatters the wrong way and you have to start over with a new angle. But eventually you're holding a tool, a rough hand axe, heavy enough to deliver force, sharp enough to bite into ice. You walk to your spot, kneel down, and begin. The first strike sends a shock up your arm. The ice barely dents. You strike again, and again. Chips fly. The sound rings out across the empty lake, a sharp, lonely crack that echoes off the far tree line. You fall into a rhythm. Strike, chip, clear the debris with your hand, strike again. The ice is maybe 5 inches thick here, and every inch is a war. Your hands are wet now. The chips melt against your skin and the water begins to freeze in the creases of your knuckles. You stop. Tuck your hands inside your clothing. Wait. Feel the sting of blood returning to your fingertips. Then you go again. Somewhere beneath the lake, a deep groan rolls through the ice. It's a sound that vibrates in your sternum, a long, low moan like something massive shifting in its sleep. The ice is moving, expanding and contracting with temperature. It's normal. It's natural. It is also deeply, profoundly unsettling when you're kneeling on top of it with nothing but hide between you and black water. 20 minutes, maybe 25. And then the chisel breaks through. Water surges up through the crack, dark and shockingly cold, flooding the small depression you've carved. You widen the hole carefully, chipping at the edges, rounding it out until it's about the width of both your fists side by side. The water below is black, not dark blue, black. Deep and alive and moving with a slow, invisible current. You stare into it, and something stares back, not literally, but the feeling is there. The Ice Age world beneath the surface, cold enough to kill you in minutes. You lower the gorge hook into the water. The cord unspools between your numb fingers. The bone disappears into the dark. You hold the line and wait. And wait. Nothing. The wind picks up. Your back is to it and it finds the gap between your shoulder blades and drives the cold in like a blade. You shift your grip on the line, jiggle it slightly. trying to create movement in the water. Something that looks alive. Something a fish might investigate. Still nothing. Minutes pass. 5. 8. Your fingers are losing feeling again, and you're starting to wonder if you chose the wrong spot, if the fish have moved, if the shadow you saw earlier was just a trick of light on ancient ice. Then you remember. You pinch a few loose fibers from the fraying edge of your cord and wrap them around the gorge hook's center, leaving tiny ends trailing free. It's not bait. It's an impression of bait, a small, ragged thing that might twitch in the current like a larva or a worm. You lower it again and begin a slow, rhythmic motion with your wrist. Lift. Drop. Lift. Drop. The fibers dance in the black water. You can't see them, but you can feel the slight resistance change as the current catches them. You notice tracks in the snow, 20 yards to your left. Large. Padded. Canine, maybe, or something bigger. They trail along the edge of the lake and disappear into the tree line. You don't look at them long. You don't need to. You already know you're not the only thing out here that's hungry. The cold is settling into your bones now. Not just your hands, your knees, your jaw, the muscles along your ribs. Everything is tightening. Your body is curling inward, conserving what little heat it has left. The groaning beneath the ice comes again, longer this time, and you feel the surface shift almost imperceptibly under your knees. You start to wonder how much longer you can stay out here. You start to calculate, not with numbers, but with feeling. How many more minutes before your hands can't grip? How many more before your legs won't carry you back to shore? And then the line moves. Not a tug. Not a jerk. A pull. Slow, steady, and undeniable. Something has taken the hook. Something down in the black water has closed its mouth around that tiny sliver of bone, and now the cord is tightening against your fingers like a whispered promise. Your heart kicks. Your breath catches. Every cell in your body goes still. You don't yank. That's instinct, and instinct will lose this fish. Instead, you hold tension. Steady. Let the gorge hook do what it was designed to do 10,000 years before you were born. Let the bone turn sideways. Let it catch. You count to 3 in your head, slow, deliberate, and then you begin to pull. Hand over hand. Gentle. The line cuts a thin groove in the edge of the ice hole. Resistance. Weight. Life on the other end. The fish breaks the surface in a surge of black water, and the cold air hits it and it thrashes silver and dark, maybe a foot long, muscular and slick and desperately alive. You guide it onto the ice with both hands, and it flaps there, shining, real. You press your palms flat against its side, not to harm it, just to hold it, just to feel the weight of it, the impossible, beautiful fact of it. Food. Survival. A meal pulled from beneath a frozen world with nothing but bone, cord, and your own freezing hands. You sit back on your heels and exhale. The breath leaves you in a long, white plume that the wind tears apart instantly. Your hands are shaking from cold, from adrenaline, from something that might be relief or might be shock. It doesn't matter. You did it. In a world without grocery stores, without packaging, without fluorescent lights and neat little price tags, you reached into the dark and pulled out life. This is what Ice Age survival actually looked like. Not the brutal, mindless struggle people imagine, but something sharper, something more human. Problem after problem, solved with focus and ingenuity by prehistoric humans who were every bit as intelligent as you. More, probably. Because they did this every single day. But you know this isn't over. The fish is food. It's calories. It's the answer to the first question this frozen world asked you. But already, the next question is forming. The wind is getting worse. The temperature is dropping. You can feel it in the way the air bites differently now, deeper, meaner, with a patience that tells you night is coming. And when night arrives in the Ice Age, the cold doesn't just inconvenience you, it kills you. Quietly. Efficiently. Without malice or mercy. You need heat. and you have nothing to make it with. Somewhere across this frozen landscape, the next teleportation is already waiting, the next impossible problem, the next test of everything you think you know about what it means to survive. 60 minutes to create warmth from nothing, no matches, no lighter, no fire starter, no shelter, just you, the cold, and whatever ancient wisdom you can summon before the dark swallows everything. That story drops next, and if this one made your pulse climb, you don't want to miss what comes after. Hit subscribe, tap the notification bell so you're the first to know when episode 4 lands. And if this video earned it, leave a like. It tells us you want more. It tells us to keep going deeper. Because the Ice Age isn't done with you yet.